Hello, welcome back to Steve Woodham's Art on YouTube. This is my new YouTube channel. I'm very new to it, so if you would like to give me a follow, subscribe, whatever, just please do. I'm obviously trying to get my numbers up, and it's a brand new venture. So, but yeah, this is the second part of my Harlequin artwork that I did. I did this live as a stream on Twitch, so I decided it'd be an idea to keep the video, speed it up somewhat because it was quite a long video otherwise, and then just voice over it, so give you a few indications of what was happening at particular points. So yeah, this is the second session for the Harlequin. The artwork was later to become known as the mask weighs heavy. I nearly forgot them for a minute, but the mask weighs heavy. It's very much a metaphorical piece. The Harlequin character is looking weighed down. It's got ropes tied to its ankles and its wrists, and he's basically in a position of stress and strain, and it's a metaphor for the carrying of the mask on a daily basis. Something that a lot of us do when we're out in public. We're very good at pretending absolutely nothing is wrong and we carry on with life as normal. Whereas, really, internally, our brains are beating us up, telling us that we're worthless and all the rest of it, and doing their best to bring us down, basically. So, it's a metaphor for that and for mental health in general, really. But yeah, it's the second session. There was a previous session which was only a short one, about 3 minutes long. This one's a little bit longer. So this artwork is predominantly in fine liner pen and a soft pencil. I believe it's a 4B, so not the softest, but soft enough for this work I'm doing. And then once I'd penciled bits in, I was using a blending stick or a blending stump or whatever the French word is for it, which I can never remember. Um, I'm not even going to try. So yeah, it's as you can see, I'm actually using the blending stick at the moment, doing the bit that we're doing on the leg there. So there'll be some people that will be, they'll be wailing and gnashing of teeth because people think I should be doing a graduated sketch with the, variety of pencils and likes. I'm very much of the opinion if you've got a technique that creates the effect that you're looking for, why make it more complicated? I don't see the point in that. If it works and it looks good and you achieve what you want it to, stick with it. Don't listen to people who say, no, no, you shouldn't do that. You should use a range of pencils and blend them all gently together over time. That's a different thing altogether. If you want to create it like this, you do that. It's a little bit like when you're at school and you have to do a division question. And you know full well that 100 divided by 4 is 25, and that you can show it in a very short working out. But they insist that you have to do long division. Um, it's a little bit like that. It's what is the point? You know how to do it short, so do it short. So anyway, yeah, we've got this Harlequin character. I did it slightly different to how I often work, in that I actually use some reference material. More often than not, I just work straight from my own imagination and from the heart, really. I'm quite an emotive artist. So generally, I rely on something moving me emotionally, and then I'll try to capture it, whether it be on canvas or paper or whatever it might be. Yeah, it's capturing emotions. So to me, my artwork isn't about getting an absolute realistic representation of an object or a thing. It's more about the whole all-encompassing thing. So yes, it's got to look a little bit like it, but it's more about the time and the place and how I was feeling and what the image was bringing to me, that then I can translate back into the artwork. As you can see in the video, we've gone slightly digressed here. as part of the background of the painting, the drawing I was doing, we were talking about mental health and a particular exhibition that some of us are going into. And I told the people who were viewing about a self-portrait that I did some time back, and this will be going into that exhibition. Again, depicting the struggle with mental health, etc. The image will disappear in a minute, but if I remember correctly, there we go. I was struggling to work out how to get it back off the screen again. But right, back to the Harlequin. So you'll notice that yes, I do the pencil work like I'm doing now, um, and blending it in with the stick. But I also do the hatching using the fine liner pen, a variety of fine liner pens from very thin, sort of 0.03 up to the wider ones. Um, it's something I've always done. That is one thing that's been a constant since I first started doing my take on Cubism, um, and it stuck with me. And also the checker patterns and the thicker lines and that sort of thing. I know it's probably not true Cubism, but it's my take on Cubism, so I make no apologies for probably not being, sort of traditional in that sense. But I do it my way, and it works, and people like it, and some people don't, and I don't really mind either way. Really, it's a bit marmite, I suppose. Um, but yeah, people. Apologies if you've already heard this before, but some people. I have been asked in the past why Cubism, why I do my take on Cubism, and I'll be honest, I really don't know. Um, I had a compulsion, I suppose it was. I'll call it a compulsion because if I say a voice, it does make me sound a little bit crazy. Um, yeah, I had a compulsion, and it was like a nagging to have a go. I'd got this visualization in my head of how I would create certain images, and it kept nagging at me and digging at me and going at me, and I was like, no, and I kept ignoring it and putting it to one side. And then one day I was sat there doing the day job, and the little nagging came back again. And I thought, you know what? I picked up my ring binder pad, the type with the spring thing across the top. I turned the page over, picked up my Sharpie pen, and I drew my coffee cup. And then I drew it again from a slightly different angle, and then put some shading in it and pulled it away and looked at it, and it was awful. But it started a spark, and then you know that grew basically. And fast forward a couple of weeks, or maybe even a month or two, we were down in the south coast of England, just across the county border into Kent, and there's a National Trust property there called Scotney Castle. And I was walking around the house there, and there was a small, unassuming table lamp. And I looked at it, and I got my phone out, and I took a photograph of it. And I thought, that's going to be my first subject when I get home. Well, when we returned home, a few days later, I did a cubist image of this lamp, and it was colourful. I did it in coloured pencils, and I posted it on Facebook, I think it was. And people were like, wow, I like that. Do you do prints of it? Can I have a copy of it? I thought, yeah, okay. So I ended up printing off some giclée prints of it, and quite a few people bought them. And then I did another piece, and the same thing happened. And when I did the third and fourth piece, and the same thing happened again, but even on a slightly bigger scale, it was like, okay, well, there could be something in this. And I've been doing it ever since. So that was with the core technique that I had, even of the coffee cup. I still, as much as it was rubbish, the core techniques that I used were still employed there, and I still use those very much today. Um, Although the work has evolved over the course of the last 6 years and got bigger, mostly, although I've started doing smaller again, it has evolved over the years, but it's still the same core techniques. And it's something different. It's a liberating kind of art, to be honest. Um, I travel up and down the country doing work demonstrations and art demonstrations and workshops. And I say to people that are watching, who are looking at me normally for the first 25 minutes, half an hour, as if I'm completely gone out and my head's gone, and what is this bloke doing? But then the things start to evolve and the processes start to make sense. And all of a sudden, this image comes out of nowhere, and people are like, okay. And they buy into it then, and they're really excited by it. And people find the whole thing therapeutic. And it's like when I do workshops, and I've got people sat there, I go, right, today I'm not going to teach you how to draw and paint. I'm sure you already know how to do that. However, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some of the techniques that I employ when I'm doing my take on Cubism. And we're also going to completely knock out of the park anything you've ever learnt about doing art before. And it's completely different. And people love it and they find it, sort of very cathartic, very enjoyable. So anyway, let's go back to the piece. I'm waffling on a little bit. So as you can see, it's progressing. Um, we've got quite a bit of the shading in, which actually don't look too bad. Certainly doesn't look too bad on the video. And we've added in a few of the pen marks. I'm obviously busy chatting in the video at the moment to people who are watching my stream. But yeah, as you can tell by this commentary, I do like to rabbit on a little bit. So anyway, we've got a couple of minutes left of this video. So um, session 3 will be following, where we progress it on a little bit more. We do some more shading, some more line work, and then the whole thing starts to take on a slightly darker feel. There's more shading, so it just brings the tone down a little bit. I add some more detail to the rope, etc. I didn't want it too macabre. I wanted it to feel dark. I wanted it to feel like an unhappy painting, but I didn't want it to be too macabre. Um, I guess everybody else will be the judge of whether I'll achieve that or not. But yeah, thank you for watching this one. There's probably about a minute and a half left, or a minute and a bit. But if you are interested, please go to www.stevewoodhamsart.com, as it says on the screen. You'll also find me on Instagram at Steve Woodham's Art, on Facebook, likewise Steve Woodham's Art, and I'm also on Twitch, where I have started streaming on a regular basis now. Please, I'm brand new to this, and I'm trying to build up my numbers a little bit. So please do follow me on YouTube, and if you can, please subscribe. It'd mean the world to me. And hopefully, I will see you at session 3, which should be following not too distant future. So I wish you well. Thanks again for watching.